Hello and welcome to Question Time. I'm Benga Ashiru. I'll take you back to something very important that happened about a year ago. In 2017, the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, was set up for the restoration of Ogoni land and for the entire Niger Delta region. But over a year, the agony of neglect still lingers. That's talking about the neglect of the highly polluted sites, even as HYPREP intensifies work on impact assessment of the affected sites. What happens to the federal government's planned implementation of the $1 billion UNEP port, with Shell committing $10 million to the project? Is there a commensurate impact on the cleanup exercise? How much has the federal government committed so far into the project? And when is the actual cleanup taking off? Channel's TV crew met with the project coordinator of HYPREP, Mr. DEKIL Marvin. We had a discussion on the progress report on Ogoni land. Join us in this exclusive interview.
HYPREP is a project of the federal government of Nigeria responsible for the implementation of the United Nations report on Ogoni land, and which the government is committed to doing and has demonstrated that by setting up HYPREP and giving us the resources and the things required to carry out that project.
It was as if before the cleanup, a lot of things that were supposed to have been done before the cleanup had not been done. So when Nigerians were expecting the cleanup proper, what we were seeing was the setting up for the cleanup.
Well, there was a preparatory or a period of preparation, which is planning. I mean, period of planning which is necessary for every project, and that is one of the things we've been doing. Setting up of the office is including the physical office and all the things we need. One of the things that we just did. But it's important, again, to know that remediation, what they call cleanup, is not an isolated activity. It is a series of activities that will then lead to cleanup.
Just to be on the same page, if I get it right, HYPREP, that's the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, has three mandates. That's provision of jobs, compensation for the host communities, and also the actual cleanup. So how far have you gone using these key indices?
Let me state clearly, HYPREP has the mandate to remediate impacted sites and restore livelihoods. These are the mandates of HYPREP. And actually, the mandate of HYPREP is embedded in the UNEP report. And the UNEP report is very clear as to their recommendations. There are a set of recommendations for the government, set of recommendations for the community, set of recommendations for the IOCs. And these are the recommendations. One core recommendation, the key recommendation, was emergency measures, which has to do with provision of water and health impact study in the community. But it's important.
So are you saying there is adequate provision of water supply, portable water supply in Ogoni land?
No, I'm saying that the process to ensure that that water is provided is ongoing.
It appears the whole process is a very sloppy process.
The process is a highly organized, structured process. It's a process that started with the reviewing of the Gazette, ensuring that the process is transparent, that the process is immune to manipulation, as well as political transitions. This is the reason that the governments reviewed the Gazette and set up governing structures for HYPREP. The governing structures, again, are the Board of Trustees. They are responsible for receiving the funds and managing the funds for the project.
We'll come back to the funding procedure.
So I'm just emphasizing how structured the project is and how
But going by the UNEP report,
yeah,
this project was supposed to be a 5-year plan, and you've gone almost 3 years, 2 years into this project now. So that means that by calculation, you ought to have completed 40% of this project.
The UNEP report is very clear as to the task ahead, being a very important task, being a task that's going to take time. The initial years for remediation and other years for restoration, we're talking about 25 to 30 years. That is what is there. But the actual remediation work is something that we could do within the first 5 years that's projected. But what that means is from the point of execution, the Project Coordination Office started in April last year. The report was submitted in 2011. It took the president, the current administration to revive that project that was already buried. And so I think we should appreciate the president for
Do you think
keeping
it
his
was
commitment.
right and sincere of the federal government to flag off the cleanup because it was a loud occasion without a HYPREP office on ground?
Well, the process, this is what I'm saying, there is a planning phase for everything. What happened was the government made a commitment and stuck to the commitment, flagged off the project, started all the processes that will lead to it, inaugurated the governing council, inaugurated the board of trustees, set up the project coordination office. These were all follow-up activities to the flag off. So without a flag off, then you will not have the institution, you will not have the machinery that will produce these subsequent things. And today we have a project that is on. We provided very recently a medical outreach program in which about 20,000 people we attended patients. We carried about 400 surgeries. The records are there in the community.
Are you not veering off your mandate? And will
No,
that
not at all, not at all.
Be
Remediation,
an eventual albatross?
Not at all, not at all, not at all. Remediation is a highly technical process, and so you need to prepare the manpower, the people who will do that job. That's what this particular training does. The people, we did initial demonstration projects across 16 sites in the four local governments.
Now, you talked about two key interesting concepts now. You talked about remediation and restoration, and yet you've not even started any of the two.
We have started, that's what I'm saying. That remediation, what do you call remediation? It's a process. There are activities you need to carry. It starts with assessment. That's what UNEP did. Okay? We have to do the next thing, which is the scoping. We are already doing that.
But
as
part of what formed the UNEP report was the impact assessment report.
No.
So now you are delving into another impact assessment report.
Let me guide you there.
Okay.
It's a technical thing. Assessment, it's verifying, was this place polluted or not? That was answered by UNEP, yes, it's polluted. The process for doing that remediation is what we are now doing. So, and what do we need to do? We go back as of today to know the extent, the contamination boundaries of each of these sites, and then we use that to build a plan, what is called a remediation plan for implementation.
But if I'm reading, because the whole situation in Ogoni land is a desperate polity that cries out for an emergency intervention. So if I'm reading the minds of an average Ogoni person now, is asking, what time are you going to start the actual cleanup?
We have a timeline which we have given out because we are following the procurement process, and we're going to have the first set of contractors in the field by September, October this year. But before that point, there is so much activities we're currently doing, one of which is the scoping delineation. As I speak to you, our scientists are in the field doing work, accessing each of those sites, determining, collecting samples that will be analyzed for us to know the exact technology and method to use in that.
How long would all this site analysis, soil testing and all that, how long are you going to carry out that? Because I'll put it succinctly, when are you going to start the actual cleanup? When people will see the polluted sites being cleaned up?
By the conclusion of the remediation process that will select the companies in September, in October, these companies will be mobilized and deployed to sites. But I want to make this point very clear.
You mean by September? Because the report I read, you said August.
This is what I'm saying. September and August are barely, I mean, we are not going to, it's not cast in stone, these things. But I want us to focus more on the process that will lead to a credible cleanup. Because the reason we even have HYPREP and all of this today is because we have never really gone through the professional route of carrying out remediation.